Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chico Weekly. I think this is now episode 4 of the series. If you are new to the concept of Chico Weekly, you've never seen one of these episodes. Pretty much, I go over the week from Sunday to Saturday. I look at fight announcements, fight cancellations, roster additions, roster removals, fighter news, drama, fighter updates, fighter injuries, anything that has to do with the UFC. I will cover it during this series, and it will only cover what happens within that week. So we're gonna get straight into it. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Anyways, Sam Patterson making his UFC debut is fighting another guy making his debut in Yanel Ajmos. It's a lightweight bout. They're going to be fighting UFC 286 in London for March 18th. Also, something that happened is Sunday. That was not the right thing to pull up. Yeah. So Sergey Pavlovich apologized for his meme that he posted. If you know, you know. If you don't, then probably search it out. I don't really know how to explain it, but he posted a meme that talked about like himself. It was very questionable, some of the things that were, written on that meme. He didn't make it himself though, and he made that clear when he apologized. He said, "Due to the language barrier, I did not understand the weight of the things written about me, posted by mistake, and do not subscribe to the things said about me. Meme was not made by me. Peace for everyone." So pretty much admits like, yeah, I did not make the meme, which a lot of people, figured. And obviously there is a clear language barrier between Sergey Pavlovich and speaking English, because he is pretty sure he's a Russian-born fighter, yeah. So he doesn't speak English super well, and I don't think he reads English super well either, because he didn't really understand what was being said in that very questionable meme. But I don't think anyone should put the fault on this guy. I think we should just move on, because he clearly didn't know. Anyways, we're going to move on to Monday now, and it was announced, if we can find it. Yeah, Mana Martinez will fight Cameron Saimon, UFC 285, March 4th. If we scroll up even further. Sage Northcutt is coming back after a long layoff. Obviously, that was due to many reasons. One of the main reasons was because of that brutal knockout that he sustained. He had to get a surgery. But there were many factors, and he talked about it in this one video if you want to check it out. He talked about it, and he's finally making his comeback May 15th on Friday. Northcutt versus I can't say that last name, but Sage Northcutt is back. Witnesses return to action against Ahmed at one championships. U.S. on ground debut at One Fight Night 10. Tickets are selling fast. Go get yours now. So if you want to check it out, go and check it out. Where is it? It's in Colorado. Okay, I don't live close to there, so probably not. A big fight that got announced on Monday, actually, Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis, UFC 287 on April 8th. You wouldn't believe me if I said that this fight is going to be a prelim. That's how stacked April 8th gets as we move along with the card. This is a stacked pay-per-view. But yeah, number 13, Kelvin Gastelum versus number 14, Chris Curtis. Very excited for that one. We move on to Tuesday, where it came out. Oh yeah, Nathan Levy will fight P. Rodriguez, UFC event on April 29th. It was the first fight announced for April 29th. P. Rodriguez coming off of a knockout win against Mike Jackson. Nathan Levy coming off of a unanimous decision win against Renato Valdez. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. Very excited for that one. But we do got to wait a long time, so I don't know. And also, Yana Kunitskaya is now officially listed as Yana Santos on the UFC website. So maybe she got married or she just changed her last name or whatever. But it seems that she is now Santos. Also, a pretty big fight that got announced for Tuesday. Ranked heavyweights will meet on March 11th, UFC Vegas 61 in the theater at the Virgin Hotels in Las Vegas. Number 8th ranked Alexander Volkov, coming off of a loss to Tom Aspinall. Coming off of a win to Rosenstrike, will face off against number 13 Alexander Romanov, who's coming off of a loss against Marcin Tybura, who's number 10. That's a fun fight. I'm super excited for this fight, and it's not too far from now actually, so even more hype there. A fight that's even closer, another big fight. Jalen Turner, who is ranked, I think he's ranked top 10. He's ranked top 15. Will fight Dan Hooker, who's also ranked top 15 at UFC 285 on March 4th. That's a pretty big fight. It's probably going to be a prelim or a feature prelim. Probably not a feature prelim. Maybe early prelim even, if it's that stacked, because I forgot how stacked that card was. Also, with KC out, Gabriela Fernandez will fight Jasmine Jasuroviskis. Urvicius. Urviscius? Man, I don't know how to say that last name. UFC Vegas 70, February 25th. That's another pretty good card there. Also, Joseline Edwards will fight Lucy Pudilova at a UFC event April 15th. So, UFC still stacking up these April cards. April's looking to be a big month for the UFC. That was it for Monday. If we look, oh no, that was it for Tuesday. If we look at Wednesday, Shogun Hua was removed from the UFC roster. Very sad, obviously, but he announced his retirement a few days before this happened. It was on the Saturday at UFC 283. So he is now removed from the roster. Also, another guy removed from the roster. This one took me by surprise. Kyle Dawkins got removed from the roster. Very sad there. Coming off of the loss to Eric Anders, he did not look good in that fight. I gotta admit. So it's even more sad to see like him being removed from the roster, especially after that fight, because Kyle Dawkins just did not look good. I don't know. He looked kind of lost, and he just wasn't. He didn't look like he was feeling himself, and he lost second round. I think it was knockout, and yeah, kind of sad to see him go that way. But we move and we look at Gaston Bolianos will take on Aaron Phillips at a UFC event April 15th. Also announced was Chaos Williams will fight Rolando Bedoya at a UFC event in May 6th. That was the first event announced for May, in the month of May for 2023. Also, another big fight announced. Or not really big fight, but it's exciting for those who know. Gerald Mearshart will fight Joe Pyfer, UFC 287, April 8th. UFC 287 gets good, bro. There's so many good fights on there, but this is another good one. Also, Priscilla Cachoeira will fight Karine Silva, UFC event April 22nd. Obviously, Priscilla Cachoeira was meant to fight in January 14th, if you guys remember. She was meant to fight Eubanks, and then Eubanks got removed from the roster after the fight got canceled. And yeah, kind of weird what happened there, but we move and we look at. Is this the? Yeah, this is the one. So with Zhang Yao, Tyson Pedro will now fight Modestas Bukauskas at UFC 24, February 11th. That was it for Wednesday. We're gonna move on to Thursday, where it came out that Shamil Abdurakhimov, who was formerly ranked number 15 at heavyweight, got removed from the roster. You know, he was on a 4-fight knockout losing streak. A lot of them came in very, very early rounds. And his most recent loss was to Jelton Almeida just a few days before this. And now he's off of the UFC roster. Kind of sad to see him go, but I don't know, man. Maybe it was the right move. Also removed from the roster, Glover Teixeira, former UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. Oldest first-time champion in UFC history, removed from the roster, retired at UFC 283. A lot of guys retired at UFC 283. That's pretty interesting. But not many fights announced for Thursday, or at least not a lot of big ones. If we scroll up, Vitor Petrino will fight Anton Turkalj at UFC Vegas 71 on March 11th. I butcher a lot of these names. That's my apologies. Tony Gravely will take on Victor Henry, UFC Vegas 71, March 11th. Also, Ricardo Ramos and Austin Lingo, Vegas 71, March 11th. These all got announced, I'm pretty sure, like at the exact same time. So that's pretty cool. That was it for Thursday. If we look at Friday, Friday was looking very, very empty up until, you know, the whole Dana White announcement. And if we scroll up to it, we'll see. This is the 27th. Yep, here it is. Middleweight champion Alex Pereira will fight Israel Adesanya, UFC 287, April 8th. Super big fight. This was the main event. This was announced to be the main event. Also, the co-main event got announced. Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal was announced for UFC 287 on April 8th. This is a huge fight. A fight that's been talked about for maybe just under a year now. So, super fun fight here. A fight that a lot of people have been waiting for. Gilbert Burns coming off of the win. First round submission win against Neil Magny. Very impressive there. Jorge Masvidal coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Colby Covington back in March of last year. So by the time this fight happens, Masvidal will have been out of a competition for 13 months, a little bit over that. So also another big fight that got announced, which got more likes than this one, which is pretty crazy. Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio announced for UFC 27 April 8th. This one should be main card, I feel like. There's going to be a lot of hype behind this one. Santiago Ponzinibbio was formerly ranked at welterweight, and Kevin Holland was formerly ranked at middleweight. Both of these guys are trying to get into a ranked spot into the top 15 at welterweight. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this fight plays out. Kevin Holland coming off of the 4th round KO loss to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who's number 6 at welterweight. Santiago Ponzinibbio coming off of a win against 3rd round knockout win against Alex Morono on 5 days notice. That's a pretty fun fight. And that was it for... Oh, no, there was another big fight that got announced. Ian Gary, he's coming back against Song Keenan, UFC 285, March 4th. It's always good to watch Ian Gary fight because they're trying to build him up and all that. So, also, for Saturday, one fight got announced. It was Chelsea Chandler versus Danielle Wolf for a UFC event in April 29th. I think that was it for the entire week of, I think it was Sunday, January 22nd, all the way up to Saturday, January 28th. And there's not much else to say. Subscribe if you want. And yeah, I mean, UFC 287, what I tell you, this is stacked up all the way. It can't get any better than that. And I hope I'm wrong, because if they somehow make that card better, I might just have to go. Like, people have been talking about it might be in like in Brooklyn or in Miami. Either way, I'll fly wherever it is, But yeah, not much else to talk about. Damn, I just made this entire outro awkward. Yeah, super excited for UFC 287, and let's see if Pereira can defend his championship once again.